First of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming here today. It's a big moment for us. It's a big moment for my team. First of all, I would like to thank my family, my wife, my mother. I mean, they have went through a hard time because it took a year to develop this. And in fact, the idea started 2 years ago when I first flew with my wife in the plane, and I tried to get relaxed and get myself a bit of sleep. When I suddenly woke up and I said, "Oh my God, this is what we have to do." And no, the apple didn't strike me then, but certainly it looked like it. And my wife usually knows that when something like this happens, then that's probably a good idea. So thank you for helping me out this period, and I also thank my team, some of whom are here. In fact, they're all graduates of the university, of the Maritime University, which are present here, and also there is a big team behind it. Altogether, there's about, I think, 15 people working on the project, which is already quite a significant number. Programmers, brokers, mathematicians, people who help create the whole structure behind this large project. The first aim, which we try to follow, is to make shipping a much better place to work in. And the way it's going now, people are bragging about all the same things. There's too much work, too many emails, shipping is not transparent, hard to work because everybody knows everyone, and you don't get enough information. Things are being hidden, as you know. Sometimes you don't get enough of it. Sometimes you have to use different sources to find what you need. You have to wait. Some people are traveling, bad connection. You go on meetings, then you have to read like 100 emails behind. So all these problems together are also our problems, and they are problems of every broker, every shipping company in the industry. Also, we try to tackle them and try to deal with them in ShipNext. First and foremost, we, as any other shipping company, we receive thousands and thousands of emails, and that is, in fact, the problem number one, which today has struck all the players. Before internet ever existed, it was easy. You travel to a certain country, you meet a person, you talk to him, you make good friends, and then you use fax or telephone to make a deal. And shipping did develop a good phrase for that, which goes as our word, our bond. Yeah. But ever since, emails started to come in, and then today, Varamar itself and other companies receive up to 10,000 or more emails a day, which of course is getting more and more difficult to read and understand. And as I wrote there, evaluate, match, calculate, quote, then negotiate, and then finally, when everybody comes to a point and everybody finds the time to read and understand and comprehend all those terms and conditions, finally a recap appears with time, and then finally, when somebody does find the time to make it a booking note or a charter party, that requires another up to a day sometimes or more until that happens. And then, of course, the chicken and egg situation, where you have more brokers, more managers in the company, more people, more emails come in, and you're not always efficient enough if you miss out or if you don't read enough of it. Yeah, so that's indeed a problem which everybody is facing today. Human error. Yeah, in our company, in anybody else's company, people tend to either forget or lose out on some things, or skip, or forget, and that's a common problem for everyone. In fact, you can never remember everything. You have to find it. You have to spend time to find your sources and your databases, and especially as the fixture goes on, the usual way is that you usually start asking people for information. Then they come to that certain email you sent. Then they look for that information. They send you a reply with this information attached. You look at it, you read through it, then you make your decision, and this process takes time. And hopefully by then you have thought of the whole route of your ship's next voyage, and took into consideration all the factors, some of which are not always known. Complex calculations involving numerous data. This basically means that every time a shipping company, for example, wants to give you a quotation, they of course have to consider all the factors relating to the ship, the cargo, or the ports they have to call, down from the ship's data, all the distances, the port data, all the restrictions, size restrictions of the ship, making stowage plan, and all other factors including navigation, sanctions, wars, riots, conflicts, weather, and so on and so on. And believe me, it's very difficult to keep all that in your head. Sometimes, you know, when you have a cargo on your ship, you or let's say in your email, you first think about making the right calculation, and then only you start thinking, am I actually going there in a safe period of time? Today, you're never too certain where conflicts or wars start out, so that's of course a challenging moment as well. And then the third set of problems is the transparency. That's actually a problem number one in many companies today, and this is why a number of companies have already started preparing their own auction sites or auction software, where they would lay out their cargo and allow carriers bid on it and carry out the transportation in a most transparent way. And we are, of course, certain that this is the trend to follow. More and more companies are trying to be more information friendly, more open, and of course, with that, they usually save money, time, and reputation. Corruption is a part of it. As you know, many companies have also started making changes in their staff, putting new people in, younger people, sometimes women. I don't know if you know it, but only yesterday or the day before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, Glencore was it, or Cargill, who announced they are looking for a lady CEO. And this is also part, I think, of the whole trend of changing the opinion on who should run the company, whether it's transparent, whether the approach is flexible or modern. And of course, the trend to also break the old perception of business as only a closed circle or a friendship-based relationship. And of course, today's trend towards automatization help solve the problem of having more and more people doing more and more routine work. In our company as well, in other companies, it's very difficult to sometimes find a person good enough to handle information, because he needs a lot of standard knowledge. He should of course understand English. He should also know maritime English. He should know all the let's say the databases, all the information on ships before he actually starts doing something. And it's not that this process is not necessary, but it takes half a year to a year to sometimes learn or teach them to find that information, use it correctly, and it's still, even if you do that, you still sometimes face risks like losing a person because he wants to move on, or he wants to grow in your own company in a different department. And this is a logical process. If you want an experienced, very professional employee, of course, he would one day, when he learns everything, he would come and say, now I know this, I would like to move on. And that's a problem which, of course, everyone is facing. And if you don't give them that opportunity, they would move on in another company. So, this of course is a challenge for any shipping company or broker company as well. That part of the process is routine, and it should be there. It should be handled by simple computer code, because a lot of it is just standard routine. So all these problems is in fact tackled and solved, hopefully solved by ShipNext. Of course, as I said, all the information comes in from various sources: forwarders, traders, producers, and on the one hand, and of course ship owner and broker on the other hand, sending all sorts of information, including cargo, ships, sometimes all kinds of spam which you don't need, and of course you have to run at least through the subject fields. You do sometimes skip it, but when you go into these emails, they're all written in various standard or substandard ways, no matter how people want it. Sometimes they use short language, sometimes they use standard text, and when you start going into it, you start getting your money, your time and your money wasted. What ShipNext does is actually understand all your emails, unless you use your application, your mobile phone or your computer screen to enter the cargo or a ship. You can just use a standard email. You don't need to make it in a certain form. You can write it in a plain English with mistakes. The system will then understand anything you write. So any text, even personal opinion, would then be comprehended, understood, and made into a cargo or a ship application request. And that information is then spread in two databases, ships and cargo, and then of course you can match it in a second. This here, as I explained, is an immediate automatic ship search. In ShipNext, we use over 60 databases. I wouldn't tell you the exact number, but those databases include everything from cargo specifications to rules of carriage by sea, packing, information on packing, stowage, total space and capacity required. You find the ship by crane capacity, by hold and hatch sizes. All this information is then stored on almost every ship today. Hold and hatch requirements, ship's position, the ship's database is there with all the characteristics of all ships. ShipNext also allows you to use to find ships according to ship's compatibility with the cargo, depending on whether you need a heavy lifter or a single decker or a twin decker or a bulker, or information based on port restrictions, berth restrictions, navigational restrictions, and all these databases are then used to find the right ship in the position for that particular cargo. In fact, we are not yet ideal in this, but the intention is to also see how the voyage will go and use the positioning of the ship to actually calculate when the ship reaches a certain destination, and check the restrictions at destination as well, including ice requirements, ice class requirements, and other sorts. With ShipNext, we actually give you a chance to do all those cross checks instantly. You don't need to look through databases, online sources. You don't need to look in your old files. All the information will be accumulated. Every port, every ship, every cargo has a profile behind it. You don't have to create it. It's created automatically, but you always have a chance to go online, change your ship's characteristics, change the port's characteristics if you're a port manager or any employee, and you see that it's not yet updated, for example, for today's information, or the agent. We are also planning to use a network of agents who will be our partner agents, benefiting both from their local experience, from their updated knowledge, as well as helping them benefit from the timely information from our sources. Immediate cargo search also requires a lot of databases. Yeah, you need to know what crane capacity is required. Yeah, and it's all sourced from the email. You can always, of course, also attach your packing list. By the way, packing lists in ShipNext are also adjustable. You just simply either send it in your email or drag and drop, and the packing list is then made standard. I'm sure all of you know that every time you ship a general cargo, not only do you have to wait for that packing list, but you also have to then understand where length or width or height is. You have to go through all different columns and make calculations on how much is it in total. And that also takes time. Well, ShipNext does it automatically. It basically learns all ways packing lists are made internationally, and then when it sees it, in seconds it can check all the millions of ways it has been already done and find that way that it somewhere resembles and make it standard. So at the end, all the packing lists you will see are then standardized. In our system, we also have information on ports restrictions, berth restrictions, information on whether you have cranes, heavy lift cranes in the port, what facilities you have, and in combination with that, you will always be able to find the ship which suits a certain port with considering its restrictions. Optional, we will give a chance to ship owners to identify their preferred hire. They would like to earnings on the ship they would like to receive, and we will give them an opportunity to later on adapt or install their online quotation. That actually is taken from somewhere from the Uber-like products, where they already adapt cars to automatic rate calculations. Well, in shipping, it's the same thing. Everything is basically a formula. Yeah. The most difficult part of calculations is the port DA, which changes in many ways according to the ship and the cargo, and the need to do lashing and securing if it's general cargo. But all the rest is basically standard. Every ship has passed the canals. Canals tariffs are also known. Port DAs are also calculable by using formulas. That's basically a standardized procedure in most of the ports. You know everyone the bunker prices today. You can get sources of information from or get brokers, bunker traders logged into the system and then provide their bunker prices. With that, you can always make those calculations automatically. This is what we do in the office. We also ran so many calculations a day that sometimes you find yourself doing mostly that. But basically, it's also the standard set of information flows that you always keep in your head in most of the cases. But if you have a source to help you, that's always easy. And of course, we always give it a lot of time to do negotiations. And an online contract management tool installed in ShipNext allows you to do all that very, very easy. But I will come to that later on. This is how the main. It's actually first time publicly shown. This is how the main screen of ShipNext will look like, and I will come to that in a live stream as well. Every time you log in and you choose your type of cargo, either as general or bulk, liquid or containers, container and liquid cargo will come later on this year, but the general cargo and bulk will basically allow you to see streams of information constantly coming in live here in terms of cargo, and on the right hand side in terms of ships. So every second, every minute we receive tens, dozens of emails which then come live, and already fixed at shipnext.com is the email where people send their requests. They don't yet get that information in return, or let's say the solution in return, but in fact the minute we launch, every email you send, you don't even have to go online. You will receive a quick response by email with information on the solutions you were looking for. So if you send the cargo, instantly the system sends you the ships that you were looking for. and if you send a ship position in any form, even with a short line, you will then get cargoes which are available in that certain position. If you look at this table, I will go through different columns. Here's the column with the reference. We will have our reference as well as the shippers or the brokers' reference. Information on where the port of loading and the port of discharge, the cargo type, weight and volume, laycans here, and freight and status. Now this is where I would like to stop for a moment. Freight and status is actually our know-how. It's an online information on what is the lowest. If somebody uses ShipNext online, for example, it gives a lot of benefits which I will describe later on. But if somebody does use them, the rating, the freights they give will be available for everyone to see without actually seeing who gave them. So it's a kind of an information that everybody is interested in, and it allows you to see, because as you know, everybody, or not everyone, but most of the people, they're used to ask brokers or forwarders or traders for a freight idea. Well, freight idea is, what is it usually? It's mainly either what they sold the cargo at, or usually the rate that the market has been offering last time, or at the moment. So this information, you don't have to wait for it. We hope to let people use it available now. And then if you see this cargo is not paying good enough, or if you see you can still bid and maybe try and make it, then you can at least aim at a figure which was given online. Of course, anybody who starts abusing it, giving false information, will then be spotted and banned from using ShipNext if it's abused, and those kinds of things are then easy to identify. But usually anybody who gives a rate online should know if the cargo is good paying or not, or aim at a certain rate. And if you are the owner of that certain cargo, you're the only one who would then be able to see who gave each rate. Status means any cargo which enters the system is given 24 hours to live. So you send the cargo, you don't want it there tomorrow, or maybe if you want it again, you should send it again. You always have options to change to fix it elsewhere. You don't need to use ShipNext, but ShipNext doesn't need outdated information. It will be stored there, but it will not be available for online bidding. So then we come to ships. Of course, you can always change between different colors. You don't need to have it black. You can always have it white. You have the reference number. You have the ship name. You have the weight, the total dead weight, or the bale capacity, or the grain capacity. The information on gear, the open position, and that's another interesting column. Anybody has any ideas what it's going to be? This is actually a possibility to charter the ship, take a ship on time charter. So this is another interesting thing which I will address separately. It's a platform where you can always bid on a ship. The owner will get your bid in a form of an email. He doesn't need to go online. He will always get your bid through ShipNext in a form of a very nice structured email. So it's a possibility of giving a bid and thus forming the market for that certain ship as a commodity. And of course also a lifetime, the status of 24 hours. If the ship is fixed or the cargo is fixed, the status changes. Yeah, so you always have then a status shown as fixed. Any questions at this stage? We don't have online questions, but anybody in the room? So that's basically what ShipNext allows you to do, is very easily, and I will run through this online then, let's say see all the cargoes coming in live and all the ships coming in live. here is what you get when you click on either a cargo or a ship. You get very structured information on the company who sent this cargo. It can be a broker, it can be an exclusive broker. And trust me, not many cargo owners or traders or shippers actually go and trade anywhere online. You know, they talk to exclusive brokers, and it can be a broker who here plays a role of the owner of the cargo. But all the information will be structured. You can check information on the ports of loading, ports of discharge. You see the laycan, you see the packing list attached to drawings. They will also be sourced from the email. If the request comes through an email, all this information, the terms, will also be sourced. Yeah, whether the shipment is under deck or on deck, whether you can accept part cargo, whether you need last in first out delivery. All that information is sourced from the email. Then you have ship part, and that is also a very nicely presented description of a ship. Trust me, we have most of the heavy lift and general cargo ships already in our system. And by saying that this, I also mean all their internal measurements, all their hatch measurements, all the crane capacity. I think some ships we know better than their ship owners. And we have people entering it on every day basis. And we source the information we don't have. We really get a really nice database that will allow, the better it is, and we welcome all owners and carriers to use this source to enter the correct information if the information we have is somewhere not exact or not up to date. This will allow them to, without their own work, source the right cargo, because when they send their circulars and they send it also to ShipNext, then basically ShipNext does a lot of their work for them automatically. Then we come to the trading. Well, this is offer, sending an offer, but I will skip this because we will go through it online. This is phase 4. We will integrate all other players in the market, including agents, as I said, insurance agents, insurance brokers, insurance companies, ports, banks, bunker traders. And this is what I wanted to say when I mentioned the possibility of trading ships as a commodity. In fact, today, one of the main problems, as you know, is globalization. And shipping companies go bankrupt. Ships tend to flow into bigger and bigger groups, into banks. There are banks with 300, 400, 500 ships today, and they run with these ships from one to the other company. Sometimes giving this a number of ships as more like a burden rather than a possibility to work properly. Because when you as a shipping company suddenly have 10, 20, 30, 50 more ships, it's a problem, because the market doesn't change with that. It's just another person who gets, or another company who gets his hands on this fleet, and he doesn't generate cargo. He just has to be more efficient than the company before him. And that takes time. It takes half a year to understand these ships, to find the people, to manage them, to operate them, to get used to crew and other things that in fact delay the efficient work of that ship. And with that, it's not the ship owner who actually loses, it's the bank, it's you and other people who invest in it. It's the investors, banks, and actual owners who lose out from any inefficiency. And so our aim is to actually make ship a commodity, to allow anybody who's better trader in a certain region to get his hands on a ship if he is well rated, he has a very good reference, he's well known to the international shipping, approved by you name it, BIMCO or FONASBA, or has credibility enough to charter that ship. Today, as you know, a lot of banks go bankrupt, and it's not always because the market is bad. It's because the ship owner in between, the ship operator, to say it, the carrier in between, has not been doing a great job. And We know situations where a carrier or a time charter operator or even a forwarder or even a cargo owner, trader, cannot get access to a ship because an operator, because a carrier says he doesn't like him, or because he says, look, I have my own scenario for that ship. And we would like to break this ice and help people get more efficiency out of availability of today's tonnage. And at the end, this will allow saving ballast runs and more money losing. Of course, there were other attempts made in shipping to make an electronic source or a program or a website or something that would help people get more done with all the information flow you have. I here list just a few competitors, so to say, competitors of ShipNext for you to understand what the difference is. And of course, most common is AXS, the Baltic Spot, Compass. There are others, of course. I don't name any of those who deal only with containers, like Flexport, like Freightos. I don't take them into consideration because we at the moment do not handle containers on ShipNext. ShipNext is, of course, an email sourcing, but a more smart email sourcing program, because not only do we source port information and cargo and only the total weight, but we also source all terms and conditions which are listed in that certain email. It allows you, of course, like all other products, to manually find the ship for a certain cargo. It does take much less time in ShipNext. But you can also work without actually going online, and that's a big difference with ShipNext. It does not require you to actually go to any website, and that's a big time saver for you, and it doesn't actually need you to change your habits. You don't need to use or go anywhere to get things done anymore. We have a huge database processing, which with all information on cargo, ships, ports, distance, tables, restrictions. It helps automatic matching. It helps, ShipNext allows you to make stowage calculations backstage, so you don't need to make a quick cross-check whether the ship is suitable for the cargo or not. Even when it's a general or a heavy lift or an oversized cargo, ShipNext does those calculations because we have all the database of all the measurements of the ship. It also allows you make automatic voyage estimates. Online market platform, something that has not been there so far. Everybody knows Baltic Exchange, but Baltic Exchange has not been very efficient in MPP and general cargo tonnage. It has not allowed to make the scale of what any ship is worth today, and that, of course, it does not give you a very transparent overview of what is happening in a big part of shipping, which concerns MPP, multi-purpose tonnage. Online tendering. This would allow any company to make an online tender, collect freights openly, and not waste time on creating something of their own. Negotiation platform, where you can make very easy negotiations online, save a lot of time from the phone, from your computer, and you don't even actually have to sit in the office. Contract management, you have all your contracts. A week ago we have signed an agreement with BIMCO. All the documents generated by ShipNext are all BIMCO approved. It's a win-win partnership. We get their forms. They get our support in actually promoting their forms. As you know, BIMCO has their own online contract management module, but it has not been broadly used, and people, find it difficult to use different sources of contract management and online work. So we help BIMCO as well by using their platform and still paying them for every contract made. Reporting, notifications, I will not go into that in very big detail, but in phase 2 and phase 3 of our work, you will see a lot more statistical data used in everyday chartering activity, voyage calculations, and so on. And rating. We did not yet implement that, but we are going to use a rating system to help get your opinions, your market players' opinions on every player, just like you have in Uber, for example. Yeah. ShipNext contains 4,000 ports and above, distances, 3 million distances, 50,000 ships, over 50, actually it's over 60 now, databases, and more than information on more than 1,500 types of or different kinds of cargo. This is the team, and with this I would like to go online and perform a little test with you. Sending emails, email requests basically looks like a standard procedure. Yeah. I enter the email address, and then I can write, "Dear John, I would like to ship transformers from Odessa to Shanghai. Total cargo is about 2,000 tons and 2,800 cubic meters. What else is there? Heaviest unit, 200 tons, and cargo is stackable. Thank you and goodbye." And I send it. It's gone. Then I log on to the main deck, and it should basically come any moment there, I hope. Yeah, here it is. Odessa, Shanghai, machinery, transformers, 2,000 tons, as you see, loading and discharging rate. That's basically at the moment, it's taken from the port, from the port statistics, but we will change that, and then GenCon is a suggested charter party which is used. And of course, you can find suitable ship. So far in the system, there are no ships in position for that certain cargo, but my colleague there can create one, and then we can see it's sourced. While we enter another email, he will create an ship position that will then be sourced for that certain cargo. Then, for example, we can also send another email in a different form, and that can be like Odessa, Masan, or say 10,000 tons grain, say 5,000, 10,000 checks, part cargo, GenCon. And then 2.5%. And we go. So we have the cargo, and we find suitable ship. No, there is no suitable ship. So basically, now while Sergey creates a ship in that position, we go and see that we have We have here ships. We can go in, find any certain ship with all its dimensions. Find here, of course, you can change white and dark view. You can make filters by port of loading and see all the cargoes from Odessa. You can search by port of discharge, laycan, weight, volume, and so on. Of course, we are always improving this, so any suggestions on how best to filter the cargo are welcome. At the moment, we are working in a test mode, so this information is mainly being tested. You don't see the actual data here, so Sergey will try to make an offer on my cargo, and I should be able to receive it any moment. While then, I try entering a ship position. So ship position can be, for example, we have here person from Vertom, so we have boat trophy, open, I don't know, where is it open? Mumbai, 1/5 June. And I send it. It should come even easier because I don't need any details on cargo. It should be there, updated in a moment.
Here it is.
It is there? Okay. Okay. So we can go in and see details of boat trophy with all its measurements. I'm sure Rob perhaps doesn't remember all of it, or do you?
No,
We can test you, including the area and the speed which is so far a description of speed, but any owner can go online, source his ship and change the information anytime. But basically all the information is available here. And last but not least, we can also try to make it more advanced, but I don't know if you are, of course we can make it more, for example, we take a BBC ship. My greetings to anybody from BBC who's watching this show. Alabama, open. I don't want to, of course, misinform anybody, but open, let's say, Odessa. And what is it? What else we can say? 1/5 June. Basically, we don't need any more information. We can, of course, put in any other information or comments like looking for cargo this or the other direction, or whether you have already part cargo on board. And so eventually it will come out here. As you see, it already sourced Stade coming in from the emails. Oh, here it comes, BBC Alabama. Also, we go online, into the ship description, and here you have all the description as well. So you can, in just a few days, we will add another option here to find the suitable cargo for that certain ship, and it will be added. But as I said, at the moment we are not in fact launching it in the open as from today, but we will be testing it with a very limited number of our clients, our carriers, our users, traders, brokers, and try to improve it and make it as usable, as close to day-to-day business and as practical as possible. You can also, of course, drag and drop. If you drag and drop, you can see I can choose whom to send it to. That's something I wanted to demonstrate as well. I will repeat it once again. So if you are a broker and you see that the cargo came in and you would like to try it out, you can drag any cargo you want and drop it on a and drop it on a ship and send a request. You see, this ship came from only one company, So I don't have a choice. I don't have an owner or broker to choose from. But I can type my message, hello, yeah, please offer or whatever. Then I have already the cargo here. I don't need to type it again, and I can send a request. Send a request to that owner. He will get it on his email. He doesn't need to use ShipNext, but everything comes in a very standard form. You will not have to read and understand whatever you need. Everything is very easily structured and so on. Same comes with the ship. You can take a ship. Chart, well, we just took Varamar here as a standard charter merchant. We will change that anytime we want, but I will send you. So I want to either reject or fix or counter offer on this one. So I go into counter offer. I choose my message, hello, or whatever. Then I can choose, if I'm a charter, I can choose another company name, XYZ. I don't need to charter only as a company I signed in with. I can put an original cargo owner, charter, or any shipper. And of course I can insist Sergey doesn't use any offshore or any island-based company. I would like him to, if his ship, what ship did he offer? BBC, so I put in BBC, shipping and chartering. And mind you, if Sergey is a broker, by fixing on basis of a BBC ship, BBC will get if they are an owner of that ship, they will get a quote, a copy of every offer this broker makes on his ship. This is transparency. It's a logical process. There should be no abuse of any broker position, and an owner of an asset, either a cargo or a ship, should know what actually a broker is offering. And I can, basically go through the details here, my own details. GenCon, I can always change the charter party, and I have here, he only marked shipment under deck. And I would like here to use any other terms and conditions. So I want to put transit time, let's say 15 days. Everybody wants their cargo delivered tomorrow, but I give it 15 days. Then I would say cargo fully stackable, or maybe not fully stackable. So I choose 50% or partly stackable. Then I want shipment as part cargo in and out of geographical position is okay. What else would I want? And then I go to BIMCO, for example. BIMCO terms and conditions. I can freight prepaid or freight collect, bills of lading. So it's basically a set of very easy standard terms and conditions. With time, we will see what is constantly used, what is not, and then suggest. According to every cargo type, you will have a suggested set of terms and conditions so that you don't have to do it all over again every time.
So we can edit any terms what we need.
Yeah, I will come to it. You have also at the bottom your own terms, and you can add your own terms. Sorry. Wait.
Add.
I don't.
This one, your terms. Click on your terms.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Like, please treat my cargo carefully. Well, it's okay. I mean, there are certainly other terms and conditions you guys want, but I want this one. And I send him an offer. Okay, so offer is sent. You see from this page that I have changed Varamar to BBC because they are the owners. I want them as an owner, and I added several more clauses. And the last is my own clause. Please treat my cargo carefully is there, and Sergey should see it on his screen, and he will try to counter it. Yeah.
It's also got this one offer, so I need to.
To counter, yeah. Okay, make a counter while I go and play more in my here in my main screen. Try to drag and drop some of the ships. Right.
So I can fix it and we can.
No, make a counter offer. А чего мы не можем перебрасывать?
Что? Это твои.
Окей. So I want to make another offer to, sorry, I don't want to choose this one, let me choose another one. Let's say I offer this cargo to this one and send a request, it's sent. And then if I want to make an offer, but I don't have a ship to make an offer with, I can, well, later on we'll add that you can drag and drop any ship and make an offer on basis of that ship. But if you do, it's basically a broker's activity. So this ship owner will always see if somebody makes an offer on basis of his ship.
And why
Yeah.
is needed?
Well, because sometimes, you know, we actually, in today's dinner, there was a company which asked me not to give access to one broker from another country. I will not name the name. Why? Because they actually made a fixture on basis of a ship without having that authority.
Yeah, but a lot of brokers are doing this.
It's not correct. You should,
It's
if
not correct, okay,
if an owner should know if you're offering his ship, because if you make a fixture on basis of his ship without him knowing it, and you don't perform or he doesn't perform, he may get in trouble. Or no, you can of course choose TBN. But if you're using somebody's asset, let's say you cannot go and present yourself as a person, you know, owning this building. Yeah, you cannot go and apply and say, I'm the owner of this building. I'm offering you to live in room number 325 because you are not an owner of this place. Same with ships. This is probably a bit too much of a transparency, but we think that it will solve a lot of problem and stress, and we can elaborate on this. We can discuss
You
this.
don't think that create more mess?
I don't think it. You can always send an email. I think you can always send an email to anybody offering that ship. But if you want to use an online bidding, you cannot offer a certain ship with a rate. Now you can send it and give it as a proposal. I want to propose this ship. Please consider the ship and let's discuss. But if you're offering a certain freight on basis of that ship, then the owner should know you're offering this vessel with that certain freight. Of course, you can always do it, as I said, online. So here, Sergey countered. He did not accept my underdeck. He placed on deck. The rest he accepted, except the 10-day transit. He asked me for. He told me he will do it in 10. He's the first owner who actually is pushing himself into a penalty. But and then he doesn't like the piracy clause because he will then be probably he's a pirate. But anyway, so I fix and the offer is fixed. The contract is generated on your email or will be generated on your email, and you can go and see in my contracts. I don't know if it's I have here a recap generated already. And I can, well, basically also a BIMCO document will also be generated to go with it. So if you see, I mean, we can do it from the telephone as well, and we are always easy with all the terms and conditions which are already standard or are there or are suggested. We don't have to type them in. It's all, well, most of the terms and conditions are already typed in. So any questions at this stage? Yeah.
First of all, I would like to ask if there is a provision for subjects.
Yeah.
We don't
Yes.
always claim fixed just like that.
Yeah. There is a provision for subjects. You can also identify your time, how much you need time for those subjects, and the fixture will not be made clean until that time is elapsed, and then you are there to you will get a sign. Please confirm your fixture. Yeah.
The second question, which I believe is the most important, as charters, we have a panel of brokers which is vetted, accepted, and from time to time is evaluated, re-evaluated. So we would not really like to see our cargoes everywhere. So to whom this order, if I give it as a charter, will be visible?
Well, it will be visible to the market. There is a big amount. Well, this is an aspect which we didn't yet limit. But I can tell you about 80% of all the emails we receive are all generated and sent all over the market. Of course, there is a certain tendency to also to sometimes limit the number of brokers that's there. We didn't yet add any tools to it. I don't know if Sergey tells me we can do it on case-to-case basis. Probably
so
it's
we can maybe we can add some preset for how hide your cargoes or your ships. I think only cargoes. Maybe for some several of brokers, you can show it only for
a certain amount of
Yeah,
brokers. Yeah. Well,
exactly,
it seems possible.
Maybe you can use rate some rate. We want to implement rate systems. But,
A rating system, yeah, that would allow you to. But Thomas would like to know whether you can make it visible only to a certain number of
yeah, you can
limited.
choose. You can choose if you want, but we need some improvements.
Yeah.
I believe this would make everybody's life better.
Yeah,
And
easy.
all the grain houses, they work through a panel of brokers and a panel of direct operators, owners, etc. So we need to perform a very, very sophisticated vetting before allowing anybody to touch our business.
Mhm.
Plus, we don't want our cargo order to be misused by big circulations. You see, the market gets a wrong impression. And especially whenever we
But-
work on a forward basis with companies like you. So we fix our forward positions together for September. I don't want a broker who is not in my panel to circulate everywhere.
Mhm.
Gives a wrong impression, and also non-vetted entity will not do business with you. Finish.
On the other hand, yeah, I agree. This we have to add. On the other hand, you here you will also see who is bidding, because in some cases you get an updated information on sometimes people fix with a carrier or a broker who is already not as good as 1 year ago or half a year ago, because you haven't been. And that rating is also reflected here, or a ship which has not been doing well enough. So there are advantages which we offer when you trade with or through Shipnext. And of course, you do get an idea of other people's rates, and that is also what maybe the management as a whole, the group owner would like to see, is that of course there is a certain closed group of traders or brokers, but the general rate for this cargo is, I don't know, maybe $10 less. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to ask you, for example, some charters have very specific terms regarding, for example, business of lading, right?
Yeah.
For many owners, okay, for some owners it's not acceptable. In this program, do we have a chance to negotiate personally, like on the phone, over the phone or something like that?
You can.
Or you should just need to
There will
write
be a
it
chat.
down?
You will have a chat like Skype-like chat, where you can give a quick comment or send a small text message outside the negotiation. You can pick up a call and make a call yourself anytime, of course. But here we will have an online negotiation platform plus a little chat box. So you can always give a quick remark or ask a question outside negotiations.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, calling is not yet part of it, but you can always call separately. You will have contact data of every player who is subscribed to it. So it's like his personal business card as well. You can go in and see his contact data, where he is, what his email is. So it's there. Yeah. Yes.
In the list we saw the cargoes of the ships when the ship is coming from 5 sources, let's say. You have the choice to apply to which of the source to...
Yeah, you can choose. Yeah, you can choose that.
Is the system also showing you the head owner and you have the choice to do that despite the head owners not calling you?
Yes, from day one, the way we are going to run it, of course, we have a lot of owners where we know whose ship it is, and we already link their main chartering email to that certain ship, so that they already get that response. On the other hand, if it's an unknown ship, it will be first identified as a so-called owner, the first whoever sends it to the system. With time, of course, we will identify, or maybe an owner will come out and say, okay, now I want, this is my ship and I want to, first get the information. Then we change it in the profile. But initially, and this is why where we also add a possibility for very active brokers to work. If they are first to send the ship to ShipNext, they will be then considered as the first instance for that particular ship until we change it. So of course this system will become more and more advanced, more and more as a correct database of all owners and brokers and cargo types and so on in the world. But of course it will take a bit of time. And of course when you negotiate, you can always choose whom to address. You don't have to address the owner. Many clients, they understand that a broker is there to do all kinds of post-fixing and other things. I will address that in a second. And you can choose which broker you actually go through. And I can tell you from Varamar's experience, in fact, in many cases, we actually favor brokers in between. In most cases, we actually work through brokers because they do a big share of the post-fixing and negotiations, knowing the person, maybe being just next door to him, and taking off a lot of additional work from the Varamar's staff. And just to point out, of course, some people, they say, okay, you want to kill brokers, which is completely not about ShipNext. I will explain why. Like every one of you have telephones in your pocket and there is a camera. But did that actually kill photographers? No, it didn't. There are plenty of photographers. In fact, with cameras in your phone, they became even more demanded. They get higher payments and salaries, and there is more and more of them. I'm sure everybody travels here. Everybody who travels, they know an advantage of having your own travel agent. What's the advantage, you ask? Well, because every time you book online and something goes wrong, you don't know what to do, whom to call. And in many cases, and I remember myself sitting in the airport, we were sitting in the airport, we missed a flight, not a missed flight, but the flight that was actually cancelled because of bad weather, and we were missing our connection flight. And while everybody streamed upstairs to go to the airline office, I quickly called my agent, and I got the next 2 seats for the next flight, the last 2 seats, before they actually ever ran up their stairs. So there's always an advantage to having a broker in between, not just because he's there to cut the commission or get his commission, no. Because anytime something goes wrong, you don't want to talk to a machine. You can't, you don't have time, you don't want to spend your efforts or energy on trying to solve it automatically, and it's not possible in many cases. You still need a broker to help you negotiate, mitigate, help on documentation side, and do many things which a computer or a system cannot help you do. This is actually, ShipNext is actually a tool for very active brokers. And when people say, okay, what are we going to do then when ShipNext is out? I tell people, you don't have to sit in front of your computer the whole day. You don't need to read the 10,000 emails that come to your system, because actually the computer can read them better for you. You have to take your phone, go out, get some fresh air, go talk to your client, invite him for a cup of coffee, or travel to his country, talk to him, make a personal approach, understand his problem, what he actually wants, and then use ShipNext to make a fixture in just a few clicks. That's a tool we are creating. So brokers with ShipNext will become much more advanced, enjoy shipping the old way, when they were talking to people more rather than sitting in front of the computers, spending hours looking through 10,000 emails trying to find that business. All that time they waste in front of their computer screens is completely a time waster. Any more questions? Or concerns? I don't know. Yeah?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much this program charge?
It's a good question. We actually compared ShipNext with our so-called competitors who offer a very small fraction of what ShipNext will do. You get charged there anything between $1,500 or $1,000 up to $3,000 a year. We will most probably decide how much we are going to charge, but there will be a subscription from start. It will be cheaper than the rest of the players from start, and when it gets more advanced, because there will be more advances made, with that we will see whether we are ever going to increase it. But the idea is actually to get more people in rather than to push them away with an expensive subscription.
Okay, so it will be not charged fixture to fixture, it will be charged per year.
I'm sure there is going to be a little fee charged per fixture if you want to fix online, because there are 3 steps to it. You should understand that you don't have to pay to use ShipNext. That's the best advantage of it. You don't need to go online if you don't want to go online and pay. You can send an email, get information by email back. Then if you want to use it more, you want to see who is that person who sent this cargo, who is that owner, what the details of the ship are, what the restrictions or what the details of every port are, and make a fixture online, then you actually go and subscribe. That's the second phase. That's where you have to first pay. And if you actually want to negotiate a fixture, manage your contracts, monitor your contracts, and see how the ship is performing, whether it's coming on time, do all that post-fixing small contract management work, then I'm sure you will be charged at least for the BIMCO charter party that you get generated. It's a small fee, but it's still there, and we will then consider whether we will charge a commission on every contract that is made, because then that's where, if you're making a contract online, this is where ShipNext actually plays a role of a broker, because it helps you make that negotiation happen. But that's only a third phase of using ShipNext.
Okay, another question. How to prevent, for example, if I send my cargo to the program, right?
Yeah.
Not inside the program, but by email, and then I receive back some vessel.
Yeah.
For example, then I can call if I know the owner, or
you can call him directly if you like. But what happens is, you get a vessel, then you call the owner and he says, okay, I will send. Who are you? Yeah. Then you say, okay, I'm this and that. He says, okay, then send me another email then, because we don't want ShipNext. So you find his email and you start sending him an email. Yeah. Then he sends you an offer because he has to type it, and he will of course eventually type it. And then you're out on a business meeting. Then you take a taxi and come back to office. That's another 1 hour, 2 hours. He's already waiting for your offer, because or from a telephone, of course. But then again, you have to sit and type, copy, paste, cut out, and make. And maybe you forgot something on your desk, and or maybe some things you needed to check, which is usually checked. All the restrictions with ShipNext, you have to do it, of course, yourself. And then you make a counter. And then again, the owner is not paying attention to this particular negotiation. Maybe he's reading other emails, other 10,000 emails that came in. And this time is of course it's your choice. You can also spend it. But we just gave a possibility to cut that inefficient time and do it from anywhere you want, from your telephone, from your screen, computer screen, very quickly, just like a checklist.
So it's going to be an app.
Yeah.
On your phone.
There is going to be an app within June, and in fact that's part of it. But then when you have a recap, when you actually made a deal, then you sit and go through all those numerous emails trying to come up with a recap. Yeah, that is also a very high time demanding process. Then when you made that recap, you usually have to have a person to fill in the charter party, or you do it in front of a computer at night. Your family is asleep, and you have to take your coffee and fill in the charter party. And yeah, okay, you don't make it because you're usually a trader or a cargo owner, but a broker usually does it in the so-called free time, not to waste time going through documentation while he can do the fixing. Anyway, it takes more time than here. Here it's done automatically. And you don't miss out on information.
So Reddit there is not compulsory.
It's not compulsory. It's just a tool, We are going to just make life easier for everyone, and then we will make ShipNext as easy to use as possible, as quick to use as possible, to actually make an additional value, and that value is going to be charged for subscription. And if people don't want it, they don't have to do it.
The system is filled with information that people like us is entering into the system. I think if I'm not so enthusiastic yet or whatever, then my ships are not entered into the system yet, I suppose.
If you
Or go to marine traffic and find the boat trophy somewhere.
Yeah, you can do that, of course. Look, every ship owner circulates his position. It's open. It's made open on their websites, or they circulate it. That means they want as many people to see it. Yeah, it would be a bit foolish not to let the shipping market see your position.
Not always.
Not always, of course, not always.
Ships are hidden now in the position of Atlantic, waiting for the market to...
If something is hidden, it's their choice. As I said, it's always a question of who owns the ship. If you go then to a banker and say, "I'm sorry, Mr. Banker, I took 20 million and I can't find the cargo," and he says, "Well, but why is the ship hidden then? Why is it not on the open market?"
Strategy so that we get higher freight.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. But okay, life is about choices. And if your strategy is to hide your ship and not allow people find it, that's one strategy.
That's the question. I mean, if I have a strategy as a charter or as an owner,
Yeah. You don't have to. No. No. If you don't want your ship to be seen, you will not have your ship seen.
If Agiros, next day, because he's own AIS
Yeah.
and ship traffic, he puts the position there, what happens?
The idea is for ShipNext to show only the positions which owners want to be seen. Yeah. If they circulate it, it means they want it to be seen. Yeah.
Let me propose something. Don't allow in ShipNet anybody to put information unless at least he signs an agreement with you that the information is correct and that this particular entity has the right from the owners or the charters to do so.
But this is what I was arguing with another listener by saying that indeed we would like the owner of a ship to have information on any manipulation with that particular ship. This is why we had an error, because I did not choose the company from the list. You see, I wanted to negotiate as BBC, but until I chose it from the list, I could not do it.
But if the one that gives the information has signed this agreement, after that, me as an owner, I have the right to sue.
Yes, but yes, and exactly. And while you subscribe, you sign the terms and conditions, and this clause is there, that you follow all this pattern. Yes.
And one more thing, just in continue of your speech, that I think it should be an information that ship owner represents the right information and the ship is not under arrest, or any problems with ship could be because of fixing the ship, but the ship with problems,
Yeah.
or it is under arrest, or it is going to be
Arrested, yeah. And this is where BIMCO and us, we are working together to actually make it much useful for their databases to be used here and be more known to the public. Because they have all this information. They have, I think, about 1,000 ship owners in their list.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, as their members, yeah. And of course, a big part of them are indeed, not first class, and they have a method of controlling that. They are certainly, collecting their own statistical data, up-to-date information, and we use that source. And this, for example, this is where we are going to be working with our agents, because it's usually the agents who are a door opener to many updated information flows, including port, You know, if an agent always works with the Odessa port, for example, he would know if one berth has become more advanced, if it has a new crane, or if the draft has increased, or if the certain ship is arrested. And the more information they source, the more information they will get from ShipNext in terms of other more useful flows for themselves. And another issue we will have is, of course, every cargo fixed from a certain port will be known. The fact that a certain cargo has been fixed from this port to that port will be known to our partner agents, just for the sake of collecting information on accidents or problems, and then feeding into the system for our clients then, or charters or ship owners to know if there is a certain problem expected, or, for example, if this cargo does not exist and the agent has spotted, he quickly then warns us, we warn the ship owner and the cargo owner if there is a problem like that. Yes?
In this program, there will be some review of the picture. For example, owner can leave the opinion about the charters can leave opinion about the owner. Because honestly, very honestly, let's say 80% of the original owners far away from the trading reality today, miles away. And then, for example, if you fix with them and something happens, which is quite usual, quite normal, like for everybody, for operators, but for these owners, it's like, oh my God, something happens. And then they put some not nice things, which you say, oh, okay, look, these guys do this, these guys do that. And because owners doesn't have really deep knowledge of the trading, understanding how it works inside, then other people who will read this, and then, it's, right?
I think the way it's going to work is almost same as it works in Uber. And we do learn from other people's mistakes, where Uber has implemented a rating system. And you can see if it's rated bad. Why is it rated bad? Because the ship was in bad condition, because the owner was rude, or because he didn't perform on time, and so on and so on. And this is the rating system we are going to include. Of course, if it's a 4-star car, yeah, you still choose it, right? If you don't like it, you can cancel it. But you should be able, and this also answers Thomas's concern. You can of course hide and let's say not hide, but limit yourself to not overviewing other players. But believe me, Varamar's experience has been that there are always brokers working, of course, with their client. But trust me, over time, there are always problems in every relationship, and many clients, they sometimes come out and look for other opportunities if that relationship is not strong enough anymore. And it's good that he has an option of using ShipNext and finding that number A classed trader or broker, to choose. Yes?
Will there be any analytical tools on the program that will help traders, ship owners, brokers, etc., to help make decisions where they want to move cargo, etc.?
Well, that's in mode 4. Or phase 4. We will try to integrate by the end of this year, where you, when you are as a trader, you want to sell something to Antwerp, for example, you will get, and you input that cargo, you will get additional information sourced mainly by our brokers, or agents. And I will give you one example. We spoke to one huge agency group in the Gulf, in the Persian Gulf. And they said, when we started entering all the databases into the system, we understood that actually everything goes in circles. Congestion goes in circles. There are seasons, there's ups and downs, and that also gives you a chance to feed that information to the trader. He should not sell his cargo maybe today, and if he can wait another 3, 4, 5 days, his ship will arrive when there is no congestion anymore. Things like that. Or, for example, if your ship is delayed, you can then see if there is congestion in that port. That helps. And of course, there is a module there called Trends that will help get an updated information from the market on how today's MPP ships of, say, a certain deadweight are valued, and how Handy and Panamax ships are valued today on this particular exchange. Get your freight ideas for a certain cargo, maybe get some news. So we are also talking to some news providers where you can get, at least the headlines sourced. So that will be a very handy tool for just, reading something in the taxi when you come out of a meeting and you want to read some interesting facts. Yeah.
I'm not actually in a shipping business, or in container business, but how about the access, the entrance to the subscribers? So, anybody, if I just register the company yesterday, so I can also free access, I can register and go
You
ahead.
can register, use it.
Yeah. So the counterparty will have to check me by himself.
You will have,
How it works
as soon as you start doing something online, as a broker, let's say you're not a trader, you're not a broker, you're not a cargo owner or a ship owner, you can of course go and look, how the market is doing, what the indicators are, if anybody's offering online. But then at a certain point, once you do start doing something and you touch somebody's ship and you make an offer on basis of that ship, the owner will know. If you talk to the owner and say, can I please try that, try your ship for that cargo, and he says yes, and then you start getting your rating. Yeah, people say, okay, this guy is good, and they leave some rating to you. You start to grow and become a more advanced player.
So I will see my counterparty like he's yesterday registered, or he's like a gold member, or like
No, you will just as a registered player, as a registered broker. Yeah. I'm sure there will be cross-checking done on every company entering, like we do today. Today we have over 1,500 subscribers, and I can tell you many of them were not known to us before we actually started making this project. And of course we have a team of people who as soon as they start using ShipNext, they will continuously check who that company is, whether it's not abused, whether that email is in fact being spamming information or things like that. So this is a standard procedure for any online bidding platform. Any more questions or concerns?
So, one more practical question. We are the owners of the boat Trophy, and we have chosen to find a very good company who is hiring that vessel, maybe Varama. And you are getting a cargo offer. Will I get an email?
Yes, you. As I said, you don't have to use ShipNext. If you have your ship.
No. When somebody offering our vessel, then
Yeah.
the owner gets an email, you say. But I'm the owner, but it's your time charter.
Yeah.
So if you are choosing to offer on a certain cargo, then I might think that I get that email, but that cannot be the...
Yes, if I will tell you that we are now working on how to integrate time charter operators, into the system. Of course, eventually, time charter operators will find it more problematic in general to run. So just like with any other business, it's becoming more transparent. But there's definitely going to be a tool there to let time charter operators become more in control of a certain ship's trading until the ship is redelivered.
Yeah.
And that mode will be there, and that's changed in the very easy in the how do you call it, profile page of who is in control of that certain ship. The task is now to make sure this process is easy, and that's what we are now thinking of. Any more?
Then somebody, the owner, has to notify you or ShipNext that the vessel is chartered for a certain period to such and such company,
Yeah,
and all the positions and the cargo deals
it's done through
will be
that.
done to that time charter operator.
Yeah, but it has to be a very easy process, And of course, if you fix through ShipNext, it can be done automatic. If you charter a ship, you offer a time charter rate and you negotiate a time charter fixture, then you change it very quickly. If you do it outside, there are different ways to it. Either you start circling the ship, yeah, of course you are the first sending that ship's position. Then you are, you can get, automatically a role of that owner, or through a system, and that's the process where being working outside ShipNext is what we have to now make easier, because the process of doing that online when you fix online is automatic.
And the same goes for giving positions, because according to your system, the ship owner is allowed to give positions. But when
Anybody is allowed to give positions. Any ship coming in you can be sent from many sources, but the owner always comes first in the list. And when you suggest a cargo for that particular ship, you can choose whether you want to offer it to one owner or every broker who sent that ship. You see, because maybe you cannot, you know that this owner is there, but maybe you want to deal through a broker, and as I said, many do that. Or you can, let's say, send that request to an owner, but you never get any reply. So unless you get a reply, you can also have a choice to send it through a broker, and then broker will do a good job. And that's where the rating will be available. You can say, okay, I like this trader more because he has a 5-star rating. So you only send it to him.
how can a charter be inserted in the system? For example, when a charter is using a panel of brokers and a broker is giving a cargo of this charter, how does the system recognize that, okay, this broker is authorized? And for example, we know this charterer, okay, if it's a big company, it's normal, but if it's some local, for example, Bulgarian chartering company, charterer which is exporting not such a big quantities, for example, 100, 2,000 metric tons per year. It's small actually. And how does the system recognize that yes, such company exists and the owner can trust that you can propose your vessel and you can work with this?
Same as in life, there are many crooks in life. You can send your cargo, which does not exist, and start trading and fix.
Yeah, and rating.
Yeah, but the worst impact on the rating of any broker or a user or a cargo owner is when he fixes and cancels. Then we will go down into this detail and why he cancels. And if it's just done like in many cases, fix and fix style, then he will get a real bad mark on his rating. So, or maybe even banned. If this is a fake company or a fake account, he can get.
And if it's a new account,
just like in life,
you will perform some check of this account, or you insert it in the system?
No, we don't insert accounts into the system. We don't, there's too much information flow to start controlling it. But if there is any signal where a fixture has been made and then cancelled, then we can see who are the players. We can't see the details of that fixture, but we can at least see who are the players, and then from then onwards see whether it's a crook. Yes.
But okay, but when you say if people coming and put cargo on the system, yes, and then cancel the cargo, for example, it's very often happens, right?
In life as well, yeah.
If you want to see something, if you want to understand how people react, how much you will get on the end. If it's no real physical cargo, right? But you want to try to see if it's possible, not possible. Then
you have to do your cross checks. Here, information about a certain client is available because he filled his profile, his contact data, the website, the address, and there is a certain. And of course, when he makes a fixture, he has to make a fixture for a certain company. And there is much more cross-checking here than in real life, in today's life, when you can do a fixture by email and nobody would, especially with small cargoes, here in the Black Sea or in Mediterranean or even in Asia, for cargoes of 1,000 to 2,000 tons, not many owners have that tool or that capacity of cross-checking the client easy.
My question on difference. For example, if I put cargo in the system, right, and then I fix one vessel, and then something goes wrong, I cancel it, so I not leave the subs,
yeah.
okay? And
No,
then all
cancel or not lift subs is different.
Okay, cancel is not lift subs the same, no?
No.
No.
I mean,
If you don't
okay.
lift subs, you don't lift subs. But if you cancel, that's
No, but for me, for like a lot of owners, especially for some owners, right? It's like, oh, you don't leave me subs, okay, I don't talk to you anymore, blah blah blah.
Yeah, okay,
So
but-
all this, it's not, but it's reality, you know.
Yeah.
It's what happens on the market, right?
okay. Now we know what
so
to do.
Technically, for example, I'm very often not leave the subs, and then what? Then my rating on this program will
No,
be
no,
like
no.
negative.
If you don't lift subs, these are your personal. You know, people will take notice of it, and this is your personal, reason. Yeah. Some people do get emotional, and but of course, it's law that people should follow. Yeah, you can get emotional about everything. If somebody doesn't pick up your phone, they can get
Exactly.
emotional. But here we are talking about getting a rating when the fixture is cancelled. You know or for example, if when it's cancelled, or if somebody enters a cargo and there is any source of information from agents telling us, we saw that this fixture was made, but this cargo is not there. I mean, it's some this
Yeah, but
this company.
But it's create a problem. How agent know, for example?
Oh, they know.
Is cargo there or not?
Varamar had such an experience.
We have such experience.
Yeah.
We have so many cargos in the world.
Yeah,
And
we
then-
fixed the cargo which was not on the pier, and it's thanks to the agents who said yes, this cargo is it was on the pier, but it's arrested. And be careful, somebody fixing it. The cargo is arrested. You may fall in trouble, and indeed, we already knew that they already fixed another ship as well, and there was a crook behind it. For whatever reason. So and unless the agent would know, a partner agent or any other, he would not be able to source that information. And of course, then in ShipNext, we will be able to source those alerts to the right channel. Alerts are not so often. In general, there are more good people there than bad people.
So, for example, you can fix the vessel, right?
Yeah.
And if cargo even not in the port,
Yeah.
I would like to fix the vessel. I want to do it, right?
Yes.
And it's my choice.
Yeah.
And then in this program, your agent, some agent, whatever he is, say, the cargo is not there. And then what is alert or what? If I want to fix, I want to fix.
It's
my
not.
choice, right?
It's not
But then you
automatically.
have to fix them.
These alerts happen, and it helps owners. Such alerts are of course helpful. It's still an alert. The cargo is not there, means the cargo is not there, and an owner can do his cross check and then make planning accordingly. He can always say to the client, I know the cargo is not there. Do you want my ship there tomorrow, or do you want me to delay and come on Monday, for example? Yeah, and these are still alerts. You have a bad weather alert that can come. Any alert. Even this company could be bankrupt today, and tomorrow they start fixing cargoes or ships left and right. And making funny things. Of course, these alerts can also come. Maybe they are not automatically, bad, but they are still alerts. It will help you. Trust me. Today's market is in general very transparent, and there is no doubt it's going to move into that direction further. And I'm sure here we have colleagues who do deal with container traffic. That market is even more standardized, more predictable, and more automated. It's just a coincidence that today shipping is that kind of that much intransparent and still very old-fashioned. And it's not only us in shipping who try to deal with that. Banks spend millions of dollars not only losing it due to inefficiency, but actually trying to fight this transparency. And believe me, if it's not ShipNext, it could be any other product tomorrow or next year or in 2 years that will definitely be there. It's not made by maybe a shipping guy, but it's made by a bank, definitely so. Because in fact you should remember, and I said this already in the beginning, shipping companies integrate, they merge, they become bigger. This globalization has made banks having portfolios of $10 to $20 billion in ships. That's a lot of ships, in fact, 300 to 500 ships that a bank has. Before, in the old days, it was not so. But now bigger banks appear, smaller banks close, they get bought, tonnage gets accumulated, and people with so much tonnage, they should have a tool where they can just place it there as a commodity and let it trade. And you have a lot of commodity markets. It doesn't mean that they ruined the industry, the trading industry, the agricultural industry, or even stock exchange, where you can buy shares. They did not ruin, they gave another tool. They gave a company a possibility of raising extra funds, making themselves more transparent for investors to come.
No, it's clear, but
Yeah.
for example, a lot of banks, they doesn't want this transparency.
Yeah, maybe they don't want.
Technically, yes,
Nobody's
but they
forced. Nobody's forced.
No, but look,
Yeah.
see, for example, the banks which is financing Iranian business, right? Iranian business, impossible to finance. Impossible, nobody finances, right?
Yeah.
So if it will be super transparency, then it's creating more problem for the banks. So it's not really banks' interest.
Yeah, but I don't really know what the banks do to make themselves more transparent, but if a bank owns 500 ships, trust me, they only say thank you to another chance of actually seeing how well these ships are performing. Or what's today's value on these ships? Because I can tell you from our experience as Varamar, we tried to take one ship on time charter, but we were not allowed to. Owner told us, sorry, but we get as an operator more commission by chartering the ship out on voyage basis than on time charter. Who are they fooling? They are fooling the owner of the ship. They are fooling the bank. Does the bank want this to stop? Of course they would want this to stop. And we are giving them that tool, and they can. And I can tell you, a lot of bank owners, they already agreed to impose their operators of their fleet to trade on this market. For them, it's another tool. Every morning they come in and say, "Oh, look at this! My ship suddenly, people are bidding $10,000 on my ship. Why are you sending me a report where my ship is only earning 5?" And then the operator has to come and say, yes, that company that offered 10 is not a good company. And he says, okay, what about the second company who offered 9,999? He says, that's also a bad company. Okay, and what about that one who offered 9,500? This transparency helps banks, and you should remember, owners are owners, but it's actually those people who invest physical money. They are the bosses to decide, and they told us, guys, we love you. Do your thing because we are losing billions of dollars. Operators are fooling us. Trying to show us they're perfect, but they're not. We want this transparency because we are tired of losing our money, going to doctors, to those housewives, guys from business who co-invest into these funds to buy ships, and then tell them, guys, sorry, but this ship is not efficient. We had to sell it, or we're losing another $1 million on it.
Okay, from the ship owner side, but from the cargo side, banks own much more cargo than tonnage. Banks own much more cargo.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 100%.
Yes.
There's no doubt,
I don't know.
right?
Yeah.
And do the really banks want to this transparency for the cargo and all of these things? Because the traders who doing the trade, to whom banks support, do they really want it? I mean, Hans, just a question.
Yeah. I can tell you, as I already did, 90% of all the emails we receive are circulars from the market. That means these emails are seen to many people in the market. This is just another person, just another helper of a broker to let people see it. It's
even from the ship owning side.
You can always choose not to be transparent. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. That was.
I think we are losing it a little bit with banks and everything, Alexander. I think that we should concentrate on something that is useful here. I am the oldest, most probably, in this room, and I can still remember when email was introduced to shipping, and traditional ship owners, charters, they would rather avoid it because it opens the market to everybody, and how can I trust that somebody who just has a Gmail account can really do business? I want to know a broker or somebody who really pays for telex. So let's not be afraid of the new era. The new era is here. Somebody will do it if you don't do it, as you said. The only point I would still insist is the selective way of accepting information. And of course it can be done. It is the next step. But we can also survive with the information that is given by everybody. As you said, this is life. This is the reality. So let's not be afraid of transparency. Let's use a tool like this, which I will support personally. Let's use it in a way so that it will become better for us soon. And let's try to not to have these demons of a new era is coming, they will steal my client. No, my brokers are my brokers.
Yeah.
And if they don't perform next year, they are not my brokers.
Exactly.
Not because of this tool or anything else. And I will not accept any new broker there just because he called me. And this I would like to
Okay.
avoid from the
Point
system.
taken, yeah.
No more emails because somebody saw my cargo and he's coming to me. My vetting process is different.
Okay.
Personally, I will support and I thank you very much for this presentation.
Thank you.
It opened something.
Just one more question. How will the system react, for example, if one broker gives a vessel with a laycan 10-15 and 1 hour later other broker is giving the vessel opening dates as 12-7?
It's treated at the moment as two different cargoes because
Two
everybody
different vessels.
Yeah, two different
Will
cargoes.
stand-
You said cargo.
No, vessel. Vessel with a laycan. Vessel will be open Black Sea 10 to 15.
If there is a first ship owner that sent it, you know.
It's a broker.
Okay, but anyway, somebody should send it first, or there is behind every ship there is an email, either a person who first sent it or it's entered.
Understood.
Yeah, anybody who's considered an owner will receive any email information that involves his ship, unless he says I don't want to receive it. Yeah, yeah. So if somebody starts sending incorrect information about his ship, he will see it.
But the system will show 2 vessels or one?
No,
vessel?
one vessel. Yeah, one vessel. Yeah.
For example, if you don't put the name of the account of the cargo, right, on the system. Account name will not be there, right?
It-
You will just the cargo.
No,
or
you can
the
see,
account?
no, you cannot, I don't know, you cannot see the account, no, but you can
Why?
see who sent it.
Okay, but for example, it's very often happens. People take like same cargo, put a different account,
Yeah,
and put it on the market. So technically, your system will generate it, and on the market, people will see like 3 or 4 cargo, right?
Yeah.
Because system not able to understand who is who,
yeah,
right?
Yes.
And then it will be like, if it's different account, then it will be like 3 different cargo, right? So people will see it, and
Unless we
plans, which is like make analytic. No,
unless at a certain point we see that somebody is doing it on purpose, and then we stop it. Yeah, but of course this is also done in life. Many traders and brokers circulate one and same cargo. It doesn't mean that the market is growing. It means-
Exactly.
yeah.
This is what if it's automatically going to the system, then for example 3 different account, for example 3 or 5 different broker send different account. It's
Yeah.
the same cargo, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's just trying to different people trying to fix it, and that's it.
And in
And
today's
then create a
and in
habit.
today's life, it's very easy. You have brokers who really circulate a lot of emails. You know, we get from some brokers 10 emails a day with different cargos. It's then clear that this broker is certainly just circulating the cargo. He's not a generator of business. He's just a broker.
No, forget
then-
about broker.
yeah.
There is a lots of operators who doing this way. For the certain market, when the people go on the market, they say, for example, okay, this cargo belongs to us, but this cargo not belongs to them. The cargo belongs to somebody else.
Yes.
And for example, 3-4 people create it's a wave on the market, which is like, for example, for kind of owners, which is they say, look, okay, a lot of cargo, really market going up, and they look, but this is reality.
Yes.
And the problem will not be able to realize who is who.
I'm sure people will try and think of ways to hack this program, and it's not perfect from start. We will try to improve it, and it's a good point. We will try to see how we will behave with those people that are actually not. They will learn their lesson if they're trying to hack the system or abuse it. Yeah, but the idea is to make.
It's not abusing. It's that
Make
people
a
trying
playground.
I understand, but people trying to do their business, they trying to make it say, okay, they take, let's say, my cargo, put $1 on top, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And offer it. It's fine, okay. If they want to make it, no problem. The question is that only my concern is if the system will generate like more number of the cargos, right? And then automatically do the analytics. Let's say, look, for example, we make such kind of volume, right? But in reality, that's not the volume. That's
Okay,
not the real
I
volume.
understood. Yeah, I understood.
And this is like a manipulation by the information.
Of statistics,
For example,
yeah.
the bands, same
Yeah,
bands, right?
good point. We will make sure that if people indeed take abuse of this and always circulate additional cargo, we will make sure that this analytics does not take into consideration brokers who do that. And these brokers are, as I said, are well known. You know, we clearly know who comes with cargo and who is a broker. And just like in statistics, we also can always amend the way it's made. Yeah. Today as well, in your emails, you see who is clearly a broker, who is clearly a shipper. You know, and this database is then accumulated in your head or in your computer. And you can understand, okay, if 10,000 brokers are sending me Thomas's cargo, you understand that there's still only one cargo. Yeah? But if you understand it, you can always teach a machine to also understand it. That's it. So we are coming to an era where it's your human skills, your ability to be a nice, extravagant, charismatic guy and talk to a client rather than sit and try to do computer's work for itself faster than the computer does it. That's what we are talking about. Okay? Thank you for coming.